Good evening there, ladies and gentlemen, and I noticed that Tortuga Power has prepared a little video about learning the game, so I thought I would do something very similar for the Fatherland! And yeah, so we're gonna go with new, just a little bit of a rundown. It will help myself, and it will help you guys to see how the game is played in the future as we play our Grand campaign. Right, Frederick, let's see. He did the East Prussia campaign, so what is this, 7 turns? Yep, that's fine. I will play it as the Eastern Entente? Or do we play as the Entente? Yeah, we'll play as the Entente. The Russians. Basically because I want to show, like, what difficulties the Russians will be experiencing. Right, so this is Tannenberg 1914. Is the music a little bit loud? Feels like the music is a little bit loud. 1 second. Uno momento. There we go. Right then, so as the Russians, what do we have here then? We have a few cores, so we have the, no wait, right, Iamsky, so these are cores, okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 cores, sorry, 5 cores, apparently I'm dyslexic, and now we have a 3-star general over here, Pavel Redenkov, Kaf, so he can become a army commander, or not, Right then. So my commander stats. So we do have a commander apparently in Warsaw. Yes, we do down here. Okay. Now let's see. So, strategic town. So these are the objectives for this campaign. So Königsberg and Thorn, which is fine. Allegiances, yup. Okay, political state, yup. Theatre's operation. Now what we need to do is take a look at the actual terrain here. So as you can see here that this is counted as clear. Well, the weather is clear, but the woods here are present. This is counted as forest, so you can see here that the infantry do okay here. Well, offensively, they are slightly mitigated. They do have a slight disadvantage. So does artillery on the offensive and defensive. We can see here that the negatives are carried on. You can see here that the cost is changed, so move cost for Nimble is about 3 days. Over here in the forest is about 4 days. There we go. Over here we have Moors, around about the same. We can see that the offensive defensive combat modifiers are changed. Okay, whereas in plains, yeah, clear terrain, it's fine. So the Germans have a small garrison over here, which is interesting. We have marshes over there. So basically, we need to make use of this terrain. We also do need to make use of our rail infrastructure here. Now, we only have 100 rail points, which is absolute awful. It's crap. You can't do anything with that. So what we need to do then is look at when our army is activated, which he never is. That sucks. That does suck indeed. I can't coordinate my forces the same way. Now, he can become a corps commander, but he can't become anything else. He has the superior officer here, so when we do go into battle, he will lead the attack, as he's hot-headed, and he's a vainglorious strategist. That's fine. It's not really, it's pretty awful, but well. Strategic 2, offensive 3. Now let's see. You, my friend, Pavel. Arrogant and vainglorious strategist. Right. Minus 2 command points. Doesn't really affect us as he's not actually leading the stack as such. Well, he will be leading the stack. Let's see. So you have 22 command points. You have the cavalry there, that's fine. You are guard. Right, so that means that the troops he has here are guard infantry. There we go. Grenadiers. So they are superior infantry. Okay, so we have a guard division. Well, a guard corps. Let's see, do we have any artillery? We do have some artillery over here. We do have... Is this medium artillery? Right, we have medium. You are leading cavalry. Yep, dragoons. So what we're going to do here then is we're going to coordinate our offensive. So we're going to have basically cavalry with cavalry. So these guys will move over here to Pavel's command. We will have the artillery moved into here along with the ammunition. So in there we go. You are a Baltic commander. Oh no, this is a Finnish commander. Okay, strong disciplinarian. This general is known to be strong in his discipline. This rigorous discipline gives us +1 in true quality. Right, that's a good commander. Okay, so what are you leading right now? You have Finnish forces. But that doesn't matter. The commander will be fine. He's going to be great. He's going to be very useful for what I want to do. Who is the commander leading the guards? Here we go. Right, so we're going to have these guards moved over here. You will lead these guards along with the artillery, which we'll have embedded in there. Now then, I could have something else embedded, perhaps. I don't have any other artillery. I do have some Cossack cavalry, which I will add in there if possible. No, it's not possible. Right, okay. You'll be moved into there then. There we go. So you're leading 3 units of cavalry so far. 3 divisions. These are divisions as well, yes. No, these are brigades. Regiments. Regiments? I'll go with regiments. It's 3 stars for a... No. 2 stars is division, right, yes, these are divisions. Goddamn, you can tell this is unprepared and unplanned because I'm doing pretty awful. But hey, you guys love it apparently, which is really weird. I've never worked out why, but hey. Right, so we are over capacity over here then. Okay, what I can do then is I can have you take command of these forces personally. That brings down the cost. Right, there we go. Well, the cost is still 24, so that's fine. But we have a better coordinated core. Right. Put that supply into there. Well, to be honest... Let's see. Our supplies would last 13 turns. Well, sorry. Your current stock is 26 and your usage is 13 a turn, so we would go through that pretty quickly. The other thing is we can capture this town over here and resupply. I'd wager... it's not really much supply in here, but we can move some through as we connected. We'll also have that rail line, which is what I desire. The train is forest, so that's going to impede us somewhat, but it's not going to be too bad. Now, so we can afford to be quite offensive here. Well, offensively minded. We could go for a conservative attack, or I could go for a sustained attack. I shall go for a sustained attack, as we do not need to really be fearing too much. Right, these forces... have you moved into here? Righto. You be our Finnish commander. Okay, we'll have this supply train moved into there, as it is a larger army. Each one of them does have a supply train, so that's fine. That works out quite nicely. The ammunition over here, the munitions, is going to go ahead with our artillery, our only piece of artillery, which is a shame. It does leave us lacking, really. Okay. So what we'll do then is we'll combine these guys. Now then. We're going to have them stay as they are. I want them to march the sounds of guns. This corps over here, the Cavalry Corps. Yep, the Cavalry Corps is going to be doing something completely different, however. I would like them to head over here because we can separate the rail line. I do have forces over here which I can separate and cut this rail line here. So if I cut the rail line over in this position here, we can trap these forces and ultimately destroy them. Okay, so you will head over here. 16 days, really. Okay. Retreat if engaged. Well, defend and retreat. Okay. So, down here, we have our commander. You have cavalry. There we go. Combine them. Okay, strong disciplinarian. It's very good to have. We'll have you use our artillery. There we go. We'll have this one travel with the cavalry. Okay, we need to head over here. So can we go for the same defend and retreat? This army is going to move on here. Oh, then again, there's not really much point in doing that. What we could be better off doing is perhaps heading for the fortress over here. If I was able to occupy that, then we could prevent reinforcements. But then again, I might want to shift myself up the line. But we do have to consider the fact of the terrain here. The terrain is forest over here, so we can move through it. I don't want to... See, this is the issue. I want to head over to this region, to Elbing, so I can capture the town. I'd probably be better off heading towards Osterode. At least in that fashion, we can avoid too much. So we'll go for a cautious advance over here then. So we will go for offensive, but we will go for a feint/probe, as I don't want to push too much. These forces will move over here, and they will defend. Okay, so that's pretty much everything at the moment. Rather complicated way of explaining things. We don't need any reinforcements at the moment. Okay, nothing else. Do I have any decisions? I can unlock some fortress guns, which is fair enough. I won't do that. Don't know what that was. Okay. Save the turn here. And we'll go ahead. So 15 days will now pass. Should see some combat. Yep, there we go. The Germans are using aerial reconnaissance over here. Okay. So there was no engagement here. Oh, you're not available now, which is rather disappointing. He's fixed in the region. That might be due to my settings over here. So if we go to options, so we have music, battle animations, focus on the move. Alright, here we go. Delayed commitment is small, foreign entry is normal, historical attrition is for both me and the AI. I turn off automated replacements because they're awful. Yeah, they are legitimately awful. Right. If selected, land forces with non-activated commander have a high chance of not being able to move at all. I think we may play with this one. I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to talk to the guys about that one and see what they think. But at least THG and Tortuga will be able to see what this is like when it happens. Anyway, carrying on. So they were not activated this turn and therefore can't move, though this corps can still move on up, which is decent. I could have them move into that position here, across the river, into the forest. And then possibly move on to Elbing, as I would like to secure that. Okay, so the German cavalry division did pull back. We do have these forces here. Why are you moving on? No, that's me issuing the wrong order. So these are our guard forces, along with the artillery. Okay. You will be there in 1 day. So we're going to have you offensive. Or not, as you're not active right now. These forces are active, so they could commit to battle. So we'll see that. Right, we'll commit to battle. Okay. So German forces have arrived over here. Okay, they retreated. Right, supply has been used here. So what we're going to do is going to send that back. Then what we'll do is we'll tell them to enter the structure, and then they'll start to recover supply. Yeah, supply is really awful. We run out pretty damn quickly. Okay, so logistics is incredibly important. So we do have a division over here. We'll move up. Okay, has anything happened in the log here? Right, they succeeded in retreating on the first day. Our forces are now active. But other than that, no combat. Right, rapidly improved their defensive. Fair enough. These forces still cannot move, so they can stay here on the defensive, build up their position. Take them 14 days to make it across the river. Okay, So I could pursue them over here. They are both active, so I will do that. We'll send the Guard Corps as well. These forces will stay here on the defensive, basically to support them should we need it. So we're going to go forward. Okay, wow. There's a large German army. So that's Hindenburg, okay. Right, I was not anticipating that much. So they do have the advantage. They are on assault though, but so are we. Okay, I really did not anticipate this large of an army. That's pretty crap. Okay, so we could go for a strong central deployment, or we could go for a special. Mass fire. Okay. So we're going to go with the mass fire. We're going to get our asses handed to us. Yeah, so we were defeated here. We did lose 20,000 men. But Hindenburg did lose 16,810 men. We can see here that the mass fire was successful, though they did envelop our flanks as they did deploy with strong flanks. Let's see. Okay, we go to battle results. So we'll look at start. Right, in the first round, they did inflict heavier casualties on us, but that's due to the fact that they have the artillery here. Right. Okay. Then round 2. We did inflict some casualties, but obviously having the far smaller force and the far lower amount of artillery, we did find it difficult. Now, we are still in this position over here, but we were forced to retreat. But Hindenburg has played his hand over here. So we'll go into defensive action. Okay. Righto. Now this is the issue, as they have Hindenburg as their overall commander, they can consolidate their forces to a much greater degree than I can possibly achieve. But we are closing in on the other objective, which is over here. I'd like to threaten it, but we might be able to threaten Danzig. If I could head over to Danzig and lay siege to Danzig, we'd be able to force Hindenburg to either retreat or stand his ground, and in which case we'll be able to make a play from that. The Russians don't have a good starting position over here, as they are finding it very difficult to move around, especially with Hindenburg. As you can see, Hindenburg is now moving, but this rail line has been cut, so it's good. Right, so he's moving down to oppose us over here at Tannenberg. We have abandoned this position. Hopefully we'll be across the river. Right, German reinforcements are arriving. I don't think we'll be able to make it across. If we can get these supply convoys out of here beforehand, that would be nice. Right, German forces have arrived over here. Hindenburg is over here. Right, there's some German forces still over here then. Okay. So they managed to catch us. Go for the mass fire once again. Okay, we did inflict almost equal casualties. We were forced to retreat. We have been separated, however. Right, Hindenburg's force has been damaged. Okay, so this means that we can now advance once more. We will go with a light attack. I don't want to push things too difficult, or too much. Okay. These forces will combine. We'll advance on Elbing. We will go for a feint/pro, and if we can take it, we'll enter into the city. Right, here we go. I could go inside the actual town. That's certainly possible. Right, you need to have that replaced. There we go. So we'll defend and retreat, but we'll hold our position here now to threaten Hindenburg. But so far, we have taken a few losses. Let's find it. Which one is it? Actually, speaking of losses, yep, we need to replace these. So 1 is equivalent to 100, so we need to replace that 22 now. Yeah, pretty much. So only need 1, actually. Okay, can easily replace that. Decisions. I could unlock the guns over here. We'll do that. See, I like the guns as they can be ferociously effective. We'll continue forward. So I imagine that Paul von Hindenburg is going to carry on be offensive over here. Or, no, he's moving back up to this position. Okay. This is it. We are forcing the Germans to use a lot of their rail capacity, which is going to leave them high and dry. Okay, it's a good thing I did commit to a feint attack. So we do have a Russian victory over here. We did actually capture this supply train. That's good news. Okay. This force is not active, though they are encountering great forces. So, we're going to have them basically retreat. Which is easier said than done. So we'll have them passive. Okay, give them the convoy. Right then. Our forces will move up. I'd like to hold this position. Right, the AI is kind of daft how it moves things around, but obviously playing against a human opponent, that's going to be a different story. Okay. New force arrives in Poland. Maybe these forces are Lodz, or these forces over here. Probably these forces here, but they're not active right now. So we are going to suffer a defeat, I'd wager here, due to the fact that Paul von Hindenburg has given us a good hiding. Okay. Right, we have gone passive there. Seems that the Germans are sending formations there. Right. Okay. Because we're passive, we don't occupy this, but I may like to occupy that. Right. Enter the building if possible. The structure, I should say. Right, so Paul von Hindenburg is over here. I'd wager he's probably on the offensive mindset. So if I can build up the defensive fortifications, which I am, we are now entrenched to a level of 1. Okay, so we do have further cavalry forces over here. Gonna have them move on up. Right. Militia have been unlocked here. Okay. Have these forces move down here. I need to build up forces for a possible offensive. Right. Do I have the use of the rail? Okay, I can be there in a day. So going to continue to hold this position. There's not long left of the actual scenario now, I'd wager. Okay. I think what we'll do then is instead move this core via rail. This one too. Reinforce. And then if I can hold this position here. Right, Hindenburg's over here, then I... No, this is Hindenburg, this is another core. They're going to get their asses kicked. If they actually engage in combat. Which they do not. We have captured the town. That's good. Ah, okay. Right. Interesting. I wager we have a minor victory here due to the fact that they didn't actually manage to destroy us. That's good. We won by points there. Well, at least that's a good indication of what goes on. I think we can continue this, so what we'll do then is we'll defend here. Be able to build up our supplies, but we did capture the city. Let's see if we can have some combat. I'd like to show you a larger battle. So we'll keep playing on, see if we gain that combat that I want. Right, they're coming. Right, they've laid siege to the town. It's a good way to draw off troops doing things like that. Okay. Our forces are continuing to entrench themselves. Righto. Move via rail. Now, they may be able to last a decent amount of time. Depends if they go for the assault. They do have a breach in the actual town, so that's fine. Okay, so the Battle of Elbing was a defeat, though they did lose 7,380 men in the assault on the actual town. Which is fine. I mean, these troops are basically cavalry, so they can get out of there. It's interesting to see that Paul von Hindenburg hasn't committed to an offensive. This is where the AI is very inept, so I'm looking forward to playing against a human opponent, as the human opponent would not have just allowed me to move out there or to move unmolested. As Paul von Hindenburg, the Hammer of the East, you go hard. You go hard or you go home. Right. Whoops. Whoops. Okay, I kinda... There we go. It's going to take us time to move there. I think playing with this sort of rules would not be good for multiplayer. Well, for a series, as obviously would lead to quite a lot of boring issues. Okay. Increase the garrison. We do have this core available. So start to move you out. Come on, I want to see some actual decent combat. Oh, we do have the 3-star over here. I do wonder if he can become a commander. An army commander. Right, we might see some decent combat now. Yep, there we go. So, we lost 1,640 men to their 4,151. So, not too bad. We are beginning the advance on Königsberg. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to hold that here. And I could put them in the town where they'll definitely have the defensive ability. But then they do not entrench. We do need to move reinforcements up there. We'll defend and retreat. So basically, if things become too difficult, we will retreat. These forces will move up here, and they will be on the same orders. Increase the garrison. Okay. As at the moment, we've only lost 43,250 men. Oh no, these are our losses. So we've lost 38,300 men so far. The Central Powers have lost 43,250. So far so good. Okay, definitely going to see a decent battle here now. Especially we have Paul von Hindenburg. We're probably going to get our asses kicked up there in the north. Just by Königsberg. Okay, we still hold Elbing. Okay. They lost 12,312 men here. That is a lot of men lost there. This is why you do not assault, unless you have breaches. Okay, so Hindenburg ends his turn over here. Now, what I can do is I can go inside the town, and then that brings us to a siege. But what I can do is, if the commanders are active, which they are not, is if they were active, I could have brought them out as basically like Sally from Siege. But as they're not active, I'll have to have them outside so we can continue with the offensive. Okay. Over here we'll just hold our position. We are entrenched. Take an additional 45 days for us to entrench ourselves here. But we have the town, so that's okay for now. Let's see if we see any combat. These forces do have a chance of joining combat if it is made. Okay. So we are now in November. Okay, so no major battles really. We'll call it an end here. So that's like a brief overview of how to play the game to an extent. Valen was kind of bored and I saw Tortuga do something, so I thought, hell, I'll do something as well. So yeah, there we go. That was something pretty random. Indeed. Until next time, guys, goodbye for now.